Welcome, everybody, to the Wellness Crusaders show. I'm Patti Reiss, and I'm here with my lovely co host, Jessica Endicott. We are so excited to bring this show to you today. The title is Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. And it is actually a book, and we're going to chat a lot more about that. But first, we do have to do a short disclaimer. So bear with us while we do the business part. Listeners understand that the role of the health coach is not to prescribe or assess micro or macronutrients, provide healthcare, medical, or nutritional therapy services, or to diagnose, treat, or cure any disease, condition, or other physical or mental ailment of the human body. Rather, the coach is a mentor and a guide who has been trained, yes, we have, in holistic health coaching to help clients live positive, sustainable lifestyle changes.
I know, it's a tongue twister.
That was a tongue twister. The listener understands we are not acting in the capacity of a doctor, of a licensed dietitian, nutritionist, psychologist, or other licensed registered professional. And that any advice given by the coach, us coaches, is not meant to take the place of these professionals. If the listener is under the care of a healthcare professional or currently using prescription medication, the client should discuss any dietary changes or potential dietary supplements with his or her doctor and should not discontinue any prescription medication without first consulting his or her doctor or us. The listener understands that the information mentioned in our talks should not be seen as medical or nursing advice and is not meant to take the place of seeing a licensed health professionals. There you go. We're clear. You can talk to us about anything.
I would like to just add to that
Okay.
we are here to empower you. So
Yes.
to make
Please.
smart decisions for yourself, right? Yep. Yeah. Okay. So, mission statement. Our mission is to educate. This is our mission. Our mission is to educate and empower you to make informed choices for your health, the health of your children, our communities, and our earth. We're committed to fostering a world where the balance between human health and environmental stewardship is respected and nurtured. Join us in this holistic and transformative journey as we work together to create a healthier, more harmonious world for all. Please join our crusade.
Wonderful. Our crusade, yes. And it is kind of like a crusade, right? It's a mission, it's our path. And so we are on it, and we hope that you are on your path to well-being. And as much as we shared about the disclaimer, we do want you to see your doctor if you need to do that, or your functional medicine doctor. And as health coaches, we cover a lot too. And we want you to be empowered to take on your own health. So we're just guides, but really this is about learning from us, from others, on how to take your health in your hands. Because ultimately that's what we have to do. We're the only ones that can really shift our reality, as much as other people can offer some wonderful ideas. And we're going to talk about what's that?
Yeah, you have to be your own advocate nowadays. You really have
Absolutely.
to be your own advocate and advocate for yourself and your health and your family. So hopefully the information that we deliver can inspire you to do such. So
I love that.
yeah.
Yep. And okay, so we're going to talk today about this book that came into my life. And honestly, I haven't read the book. But I'm going to share about why I wanted to do this show on it, because it's called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends Upon It. And oh my gosh, I'm blanking on the author's name. Wait, I just sent it.
It's Kamal
Kamal
Ravikant.
Ravikant. Kamal Ravikant. So he is who. Oh, good. That's great. Thanks, Dwayne. This is what we're talking about. And honestly, I was sharing with you too, Jessica. This has been part of my mantra in my own health journey and my own recovery journey. I had to learn to do this. Yes, I learned a lot about nutrition and aminos and neurofeedback. There are many other things that I brought into my life, therapy. But the bottom line was I had to get to this point of loving myself. Most of us do, because we're vibrational beings. So if we don't get to that place, it's hard for us to really fully heal. And again, there's lots of threads that come into loving yourself, right? Because I also see it as self-care. So I wanted to explain what happened. So I was on the phone with a good friend of mine. We were both cheerleaders together in high school, and have stayed friends all these years. I lost touch with her for many years because I was in a really dark place with my addiction, and she had already been sober, and she I think has, oh my goodness, I think she's got 37 years or right around then. And I connected with her the other day because now we talk, frequently. And she said, I'm listening to this book on tape. And I said, what is it? Love yourself like your life depends on it. And I was like, well, I love that title. And I love that whole idea. I mean, that's part of what I said is my mantra. She said it's changed her life. Now, this is, we're both in our late 60s in recovery. We've done a lot of work in a lot of areas. And I'm like, really? She goes, yes. And what she discovered for herself was there were some things about herself that she didn't really love.
Mm.
And she thought love meant getting to her job, making money, making sure I took, and that brings up some codependent stuff too, right? Making sure I do the things that are loving toward other people, which of course we are going to do. But underneath that was this place that I don't love all of me. I love those parts of me that get to work, get a job, make some money, make the dinner, make sure people are taken care of. But I didn't love some of the deeper parts of myself. And I was like, oh, okay, wow, that's huge. So by her just saying that, I pulled up this guy's work. I have ordered the book. I haven't read it yet, but I did go into a little bit of I did a what do they call them? Cliff notes.
Yeah.
Speaking of like college, just give me the cliff notes on that. So I did go into some cliff notes, but before I do, I wanted to open it up to you to share anything about that.
Yeah. So, I remember,
Thanks.
okay, I always thought that I loved myself. I always thought that I had a good self-esteem until like my therapist was like, you don't have a good self-esteem, Jessica, because if you had a good self-esteem, you wouldn't be doing some of the things that I'm doing, right? And engaging with people the way that I'm engaging. And it wasn't until I went back to college to get my associate's degree, and I'm in my psychology class, and this girl she says something, and then she starts laughing at herself, and she's like, I'm so silly. I just love me. And everybody was like so blown away by her saying that, right? They were like, they wanted to make fun of her for saying that. And
Oh,
here I am, and I'm like, oh, I've never heard that. That's so cool. I love that she said that. And I was like, I want to be like that. And that really like shifted for me to do an
mm,
internal like evaluation and be like, do I really love myself? Like, what am I
mm,
doing that's really showing love to myself? And so that was in 2008 that I heard that. And so it's been a journey to learn
mm,
to love myself and to give myself the same love and attention and care that I have given to everybody else. Because for all of my adulthood, up until my mom passed away in 2022, I was a caregiver.
mm,
From the time I was little, I had my baby sister that I had to take care of because we grew up in an alcoholic household. My father was an abusive alcoholic, so I had to take care of my little sister. Had to make sure that she was okay, and then as soon as I graduated high school, I was already pregnant. So I get out of high school, have baby, have another baby. I'm a caregiver, right? And then my kids finally get to the point where they're able to move out of the home and go and be on their own. And my mom has Alzheimer's. And so I start caring for her. So I never once, like throughout my life, got that opportunity to just care for myself. It was always care for everybody else and show everybody else love. And it wasn't, it was difficult to recognize that, oh my gosh, I'm doing all of this stuff for everybody else, but what am I doing for me? So going through my yoga teacher training, my yoga therapy training, and my mindfulness training, I was able to come into me more and be more mindful of the way that I'm caring for myself and caring for this beautiful sacred body. Right? Like we hear that this body's sacred. We hear that, like we're taught that through religious things, right? Like growing up, I was LDS, and so they always said your body's a temple. But I never truly understood it until I turned that love on me and started really focusing inward on me and showing myself love and recognizing, wait, this body really is a temple. This is my gift to be able to experience. My body is my soul's gift to be able to experience this lifetime. And how do I want to take care of it? How do I want to take care of my emotions, my mental state, my physical state, and my spiritual state? And that means not allowing toxins into my life, right? Toxic people, toxic energy, toxic thoughts, toxic music, toxic food.
Yep.
So,
Love
yeah,
that.
I mean, we have to love ourselves like our life depends on it, because we can just give and give and give and give. I have a friend right now who's given so much of his life to taking care of somebody who doesn't love themselves either. Right? And yeah, when we do that, we are giving to somebody who doesn't love themselves. They're not capable of receiving it, and it can be very harmful for us too.
Very true. Which is another gift we need to share with our children too, right? To remind them that that it's not selfish to love yourself. It's not narcissism, which is like, oh, you're just, it isn't that. It is absolutely necessary for us to change the world by loving ourselves and going within. When you were talking about that girl in your class, when I had this flash of when I really got the love yourself thing too. I don't know, probably maybe a year sober. So I started loving myself when I got sober because I was drinking about so many things and smoking weed about so many things. But I saw the movie The Secret, and this is an old movie, right? And I was like, okay, and there was some good value in that. It was your thoughts become things. So our thoughts, loving ourselves, and I was like, okay, I got that. So that was my first opening. But I remember one of the guys in there, I think his name was Bob Proctor, and he was one of the highlights of that movie. And I remember him talking about loving himself, and he just goes, starts kissing his arm. And I was like, damn, because I just love myself. And he's just starts kissing his arm. And I was like, I'm gonna start kissing my arm, and like it was like, and it was done with light and deep love. It wasn't like this frivolous, and it was funny, obviously, people laughed, kind of like the girl in your class. But I realized that, okay, the more that I started studying about quantum physics and the law of attraction, that we are frequency beings. And if we're talking if we're I'm not going to curse. If we have negative thoughts about ourselves and others, that's coming back to us. That's affecting ourselves. And I remember also hearing many years ago about this therapy called body talk, that, learning how to talk to our bodies, learning how to say, thank you, liver. Thank you for healing. Thank you, skin, for healing. I've had this skin rash going on, and I'm like, I need to really, instead of hating my rash, going, okay, I'm going to thank it for healing,
Yeah.
bringing back in that energy, because that's energy medicine. Just this is all part of energy medicine. It's part of um, physics. There's a lot more of the science in, thinking positive thoughts and what that does out into the field and how it comes back to us. So
Mhm.
yeah, we need to take the action on the ground, like eating and doing yoga and, being in recovery if that's what you need, but also positive thoughts, and feeling the real things. I was just on with a client and I was telling him, feel it. If you're sad, feel that. Don't stuff it, because we know the body keeps score. And then come back to gratitude. Thank you for my healing. I love myself. So one of the things with this guy's work that I thought was fascinating, so he decided he was suicidal. Life was just falling apart for him. And I don't know all the details about how he decided to get into this. I'm sure he's listened to people too. I mean, this isn't a new concept that he created, but I think some of his practices will be familiar to you and probably to some of our listeners as well too. Gratitude, absolutely. So he wrote a vow. And we know as health coaches, I mean, I also, you can write a commitment letter to yourself. I'm committed to taking care of myself. It's similar to a vow. And what does that vow to yourself mean? What vow are you taking? So he wrote a vow to himself that he was going to change and love himself. And um, basically, when you think about the vow, um, you vow to love yourself, and then once you make that vow, there's no turning back, right? You're like, I'm on this. I'm making a vow to myself, and these were his steps that he took, and he talks about in his book. Step one: write it on paper. Write the vow on paper. Make the statement powerful. So whatever that vow is that you decide to make for yourself, you step into it and you make that statement. Rewrite it if you need to is step 3. Step 4, read it aloud till it vibrates inside of you, right? So that you're feeling it and I just happen to have my frequency book right here. You're shifting your frequency, right? It's vibrating in you that, like, okay, this is what I want to say. This is what I'm vowing to myself. Put it somewhere where you can read it. And then step 6 is read it twice a day, in the morning and then in the evening. So it's kind of like an affirmation to reading that vow to yourself in the beginning when you're really trying to get something shifted in your life, about loving yourself. Um, so that I wanted to share that, the vow, and then he talks about the 4 parts of the practice. And he talks about the mental loop. And we know this a lot. We get into the mental loop of like, oh, that's not going to work. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I owe so much money. Or, oh my gosh, I just drank again, or I ate that. Blah, blah, blah. You get into this mental loop. And once you start doing that mental loop, you repeat, you stop, you take a breath, and you repeat, I love myself. Whenever you get into a mental loop, you just stop and you reframe. I love myself. And I would put your hands on your heart, because there's also this, it's really powerful to hold your heart when you do this. I love myself. And then you might have to say it again. I love myself. 2, the second practice that he talks about is meditation. So daily meditation for 7 minutes, and we both meditate. So whatever your number is, he chose 7 minutes. He actually listens to music. So this is what he does. You can create your own. We're just sharing suggestions from this book. He listens to music for 7 minutes. And again, he will bring that, if his mind starts going, he will bring in, I love myself. He also imagines a light beam. I'm just looking at my notes. A light beam coming into your head and clearing any negative thoughts. So that could be a visualization while you're meditating. And you can actually, while you're doing this, while you're breathing, you can breathe in while you're meditating. I love myself. And when you exhale, thank you with your breath, because obviously the breath is part of meditation too, as you're listening to music. Then he talks about the mirror.
Mm.
And I remember having this experience. So let me share what he said, and then I'll tell you about my experience in rehab with the mirror. So you look in the mirror for about 5 minutes, and this could be uncomfortable for people. And some people may have already experimented with this. And you say to yourself, I love myself. So you just look at yourself, I love you. I love you. And you just keep looking at yourself. I love you. I love you. And that's a really powerful experience till you believe it more intensely. And then the fourth part of his practice is question that you ask yourself daily. If I truly love myself deeply, would I make this choice? So that's where we start thinking about our daily choices, right? Would I make this choice to smoke? I'll just bring that one up since that's been in my life. Will I make this choice to have a drink? Will I make this choice to eat that, croissant that'll, might make me feel crappy? Whatever that choice is, you keep asking yourself, if I make this choice, is this something I would do that deeply loving would be deeply loving to myself? Is this a deeply loving choice for myself? And that's one choice at a time, instead of thinking about the whole shebang, right? Would I make this choice? Would this be a loving choice for me to make or not? So we get to ask those questions. Um, let's see what else I pulled off that. Uh, and as you do some of these practices, and we know this as coaches too, helping people get to a better place in their life, you can mark it on a calendar. I did that today. I actually did that today. You start having accountability for loving yourself. You put it on your calendar. Oh wow, I did my loving myself practice today, and check it off. And I know we've talked about this before, and part of loving yourself is forgiving yourself. And one of the ways we can do that, and I've done it over the years, is to write down, um, write it down, write down things that still have been uh, just mentally eating you up, right? It's still there. That resentment's still there. I'm still mad at myself for that. I'm still like, okay, okay. Then you can say, I love myself. I love me. I love myself. And then write it out. There's something really powerful. And we've talked about this before, Jess, about journaling, about writing it out and then burning it at the full moon or whatever. Get a little, you know, small little burner or a bowl that you can burn things in and release it. It's energetic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love all of those steps. And I think they're so beautiful.
Mhm.
But what about people who don't love themselves, who have a lot of shame, who have, like my mom, I had to work with my mom so bad because she was so severely abused by my dad and his words that she didn't think she was worth anything. Her
Mhm.
self-esteem was so completely shot. She did,
Mhm.
she didn't love herself. And when I did some energy work with her and was working on like her heart chakra, she made me stop because it was too painful for her to go in there and to find that love for
Mhm.
herself too. So I mean, everything that you said is beautiful and wonderful, but some people are really struggling with
Absolutely.
forgiveness and
Yeah.
shame, and they've been so severely abused that it's not easy to do some of those things. Like to just say I love myself is so off for them.
I agree.
And so I would like to speak to that and how we can assist people who are struggling with that to be able to find their self-worth and to be able to come into that place where they can start returning that love that they're giving to others and return that love to themselves. And so maybe it's like baby steps, right? The baby step of first, the very first thing in the morning, brushing your teeth or brushing your hair or showering. Like that can be a simple form of self-love.
Absolutely.
Doing it intentionally, like just like brushing your hair and just, totally immersing yourself in that act of, I am taking care of myself first right now. I am showing myself love and being intentional with that, or washing your body or whatever it is and feeding yourself. These are ways that you can show love to yourself every day. And when you practice that, and when you start to learn forgiveness, I'm thinking of the Ho'oponopono prayer right now.
Absolutely.
And one of the biggest ways to go about like learning that forgiveness is just to come back to yourself and say the Ho'oponopono prayer. I'm
Absolutely.
sorry. I'm sorry for neglecting you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you. And even then saying I love you could still be hard and challenging, but it's a step. It's a step. And
I like
holding your heart, right?
Yeah, I really like the Ho'oponopono because and what you're saying, Jess, is so true. Like, I've worked with people that do not love themselves. So this is a good point to bring up. And there's also, trauma therapy for people as well too. But one of the things I noticed about the Ho'oponopono is it's hard for people to say I love you, I forgive you, but they can say Ho'oponopono, right? Because they're like, or howla, another language where they're not like identifying with that word going, I don't believe that, right? Because it flips us back. But if we just say, and that's the phrase, it's Ho'oponopono. And you can look that up and read about that beautiful forgiveness and love phrase and energy around how that works. It was a Hawaiian psychiatrist, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
A Hawaiian psychiatrist who did some deep work with people on death row. I mean, the studies are phenomenal on it and how they started loving themselves again. So it could be as simple for our listeners and anyone that's struggling with that just to go, Ho'oponopono, Ho'oponopono. And that's what I had some of, Ho'oponopono, just that I love you. Well, I forgive you. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. I forget the sequence of it. I don't think it
I'm
matters.
sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And I love you.
Right. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that reminder.
You're welcome. And I loved what he said too about the meditation, because meditation is such a simple place to start.
Mm-hmm.
Because in order to shift out of that, those toxic thoughts that we have, those toxic thought patterns that have been so ingrained in us, and society has taught us to not love ourselves, right? Society has taught us so many things about not caring for ourselves, but the meditation allows us to be able to sit and observe our thoughts. And when you sit in that place of observance, you can see how your thoughts are hindering your ability to care and love for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot make any change until you bring it into that awareness. You cannot make a change consciously because your subconscious and unconscious haven't been brought into the consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
So once you bring that into the aware state, now you can start to create those shifts and those changes.
Mm.
I also wanted to talk about like the metta meditation, because the
Oh,
metta
yes.
meditation
Yes. Please do.
it's a loving kindness meditation, and
Yes.
it's just a loving kindness meditation for yourself. It's a loving kindness meditation for you and others and for the world. And so when you're practicing the loving kindness meditation, you're sitting, you come in to your place of sitting and you come into your heart and you bring your awareness to the center of your chest.
Mm-hmm.
And then you quietly and mentally you repeat, may I be happy.
May I be happy.
May I be well.
May I be well.
May I be safe.
May I be safe.
May I be peaceful and at ease.
May I be peaceful and at ease.
And so as you say this, you allow this energy to come into you. You just allow it to sit. Take a couple deep breaths. Feel the warmth of that. And take another big inhale.
Mm.
And now you bring in to your awareness somebody that you love. And you say, may you be happy.
May you be happy.
May you be well.
May you be well.
May you be safe.
May you be safe.
May you be peaceful and at ease.
May you be peaceful and at ease.
And so you allow this to sink into your heart, just feeling that warmth. And then the last one is, may all beings be happy.
May all beings be happy.
May all beings be well.
May all beings be well.
May all beings be safe.
May all beings be safe.
May all beings be peaceful and at ease.
May all beings be peaceful and at ease.
And taking a big inhale in. And just allowing that to settle into the heart, into your stomach, into your body. And then gently opening your eyes.
Mm. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Wow.
You got a little bit emotional there.
Well, especially when I was doing it for someone else. So I have someone very dear in my life going through a hard time right now. So I
That's such
love that. What a beautiful, thank you for doing that with us. Yeah.
a
Wonder if we could write that up and post it on our website,
you can.
because I feel like it's such a nice, it brings you into yourself, which we're talking about loving ourselves, right? And then you get to share that with someone in your life. And then you get to share it with the world,
Mm-hmm.
which is what we all need right now. There's a lot going on out there.
Right.
And the more we can come back to seeing our world healing and bringing that peace back in, it's wonderful.
And you can also do that, the second part of that practice with somebody that you've got some hard emotions with. Like if you've got some turmoil with somebody,
Right.
it's such a beautiful way to clear that energy for both of you.
Mm. And do you do the whole, all three, uh, all three sections, right?
You start out with you first, right?
Okay.
It was you first. So just like we've been talking about, is that you have to show yourself that love and care first.
Mhm.
And then you bring in the person,
Mhm.
your loved one or the person that you're experiencing a hard time with.
Mhm.
And then you say, may they be happy, may they be at peace. Da, da,
Mhm.
da, da, da.
Love that.
And then you still do the entire, all beings.
May all beings. Well, it's interesting because one of my girlfriends, who was a yoga teacher as well, sent me the Meta bracelet many, many years ago. She passed away from cancer almost 5 years ago. Um, oh wow, just recently, was her anniversary. I forgot. Anyway, but I lost it on a journey, it was at an airport. So, um, but I think I might try to get that bracelet again. And it's a beautiful bracelet, and it has "May all beings," so it's the global part of that prayer.
Yeah. And it's all like, it's not just talking about human beings, it's all
All
beings.
beings,
All,
absolutely, love it.
yeah.
Hmm. I love it. Yeah, thank you so much for that. And I think this, you know, I was really drawn to this topic because it is such an important topic to your health, because we must get to that place of loving ourselves. And like you said earlier, maybe that is just brushing our teeth in the morning, making a meal for ourselves. In order for us, this is the catch a little bit, right? In order for us to really love ourselves, we have to have enough of our brain working. Because if our brain is low in like serotonin or even endorphins, which is the love neurotransmitter, it's really hard to say I love myself.
Well, even the catecholamines, because yeah, if
Exactly.
you're feeling like that apathetic depression and lack of motivation to do anything, you're not going to feel like taking a shower.
No, or feeding yourself. So here's the catch 22, friends. In order to get to those loving thoughts, and this is what I've always said, right? Because it's like, oh, they'll, people like us will say, well, you must love yourself. And this guy is great. He's talking about it in his book. I don't know what he does about food or amino acids, which is something we learned about, because obviously the brain has to be fed something. And there may be those rare individuals out there that can love themselves and maybe not eat very much or eat lightly or God bless them. But the majority of us are not there. The majority of us need to feed our brain, to feed our neurotransmitters, to feed our mood, and say, I love myself. And I didn't love myself until my brain got better. So honestly, I didn't understand that deep love until I actually was like, oh, oh my goodness. I'm gonna have some breakfast. I'm gonna start taking aminos to shift my neurotransmitters. And then all of a sudden I was like, wow, I can actually go into that deeper love for myself. So I just want to bring that up just because I think it's important, especially for people that are like, I can't get there. I'm depressed. I have anxiety. I'm so stuck on what happened in the past. I can't get out of it. You know, um, that's where you need to start looking at the brain chemistry as well, too. So yes, saying I love myself is a great first step. And then getting yourself to feed yourself and take care of yourself is equally as important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So I think that along with that, it's, look at the care that you're giving for somebody else. And are you doing that same thing for yourself? Because if you're not, like, that's a big thing, right? We need to turn that around and start,
Right.
yeah,
Ab-
practicing
abs-
that for ourselves. So,
Absolutely. And I just want to put a call out. I don't know if you see the thread here from our background guy. Um, You are watching Main Street Media, Utah, KMMU. We're live on Rumble, YouTube, X, and our website is kmmu.org. Thanks so much for joining the Wellness Crusaders. Our live in call number is 385 899 2134. Again, if you want to call in and chat with us about loving yourself, 385 899 2134.
mhm. We're
Okay,
so grateful for KMMU for allowing us to be able to share and speak openly about anything and everything that
absolutely.
we're passionate about, that we feel that we need to bring awareness to. So thank you so much for hosting us.
Freedom speech.
They do a lot behind the scenes for us to keep
They
this.
do, they do. So we really appreciate them and all they do for the community as well. So, um, anything else you want to add, Jessica?
Yeah. Okay. So when I was like learning how to love myself,
Uh huh.
had to learn how to listen to my inner critic.
Oh.
And so there's a really good book called The Self-Esteem Journal, and there's a self-esteem handbook, and it
Oh.
takes you through step by step, like of learning, like when this happened, how it happened, and looking at the moments in your life that you haven't shown yourself love and all the codependency that you've done, the caretaking that you've done, all of the things that you've done for other people, and how it really teaches you how to listen to that inner critic too. So my mom had the worst inner critic. She would constantly say, I'm so stupid. I can't believe I did that.
Mm.
Um, just, constantly saying that she was stupid. And that was instilled in her because that's what my dad told her, that she was stupid or that she was fat. She couldn't do anything right. Da, 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 da. Like all these horrible things that she kept telling herself. And it wasn't until I worked so hard with her when I had her. And finally, one day, she said, wow, I did that. I'm so good. I'm so beautiful. And it was the first time in my whole entire life that I'd ever heard my mom say anything to herself. And this was a few months, anything positive about herself. And it was a few months before she passed.
Mm.
But I
What
mean,
a
that,
gift, though. What a gift.
right? It was. And it was so amazing to hear that shift finally happen for her. But our critic, our inner critic, why are we so hard on ourselves? Why are we more hard on ourselves than anybody else? Like we are the one person that we should love more than anything in this lifetime. We are the one person that we should care for because at the end of the day, all we have is ourself. Like, yes, we're connected. Yes, we have this oneness. We're never really truly alone, but we are alone. Like, there are moments where we're alone and we're alone with our thoughts, and our thoughts should be pleasant thoughts.
Absolutely.
And if they're not pleasant thoughts, then please get that book. It's called The Self-Esteem Journal.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's called. It's just called The Self-Esteem Journal. It's green. I'll see if I can find a picture to have Dwayne throw up really quick.
Okay. Self-esteem journal. I haven't heard of it. But there's so many books. There are many other books out there on it as well, too. But I like the simplicity of this one. And friends, whatever you can do to get to that place. And if you need to go into forgiveness first, then get to I love yourself, then please do that because that's really important. So I wanted to share this experience I had when I was in rehab with my roommate. And so we did the mirror. He was talking about, um, let me just go through the practice, right? You make a vow for yourself. I'm committed. I'm going to make a vow. You write it out. You say it in the morning and at night. Like, what is your vow to yourself to be well and happy and loving yourself? You get out of the mental loop. I'm just going to go through the steps again. The mental loop is you start thinking negative stuff. I love myself. Just come back to, oh, I love myself. Oh, I love myself. Okay. Meditation. He does music in his meditation. You don't have to do that. You can just be quiet. For some people, they don't want any sound during their meditation. I have found for some people music is helpful, but we're talking about gentle, soft music too to keep the brain in a homeostasis, in a more balanced place. The mirror. So this is what I want to talk about: the mirror. So when I was in rehab many, many years ago, the counselor that was at the rehab was my roommate. She gave an assignment, and we were in group therapy, and she gave this assignment to my roommate. And she said, okay, I want you to look in the mirror and tell yourself you love yourself. So this was, I had this experience when I was 18 years ago. And so, and then she looked over at me and she said, Patty, you've got to go in the bathroom with her and watch her do it. And I was like, okay, like I'm open, like I'm in rehab. I'm going to follow the, guidelines. Right. And I loved this counselor. She was a great gal. So the girl looks in the mirror, she gets into the mirror and she looks at herself and she goes, I hate you. Right. And I'm like, I'm watching her going, well, I don't, that's not what she's supposed to say. And she just did it again. She goes, I hate you. And she had this vicious look on her face. And I was like, that's not what you're supposed to say, actually. You were guided to say, I love you. And she couldn't. So here I am in rehab too, right? Going, well, okay, what am I going to? I said, well, can you say, I forgive you? Like, I wasn't going to run down and get the counselor. She wasn't even there. It was like at night before she went to bed. And she said, I can do that. So she just said, I forgive you. She couldn't love herself yet. So I'm sharing that because it might be that step first, where you come into that place where, whatever you've done, the shame, the guilt, we have to be able to forgive ourselves to love ourselves. So it may be that first. And that's why I wanted to share it, because she was able to say that. And eventually she was able to, many days later, say, I love you.
Wow.
So I think just reminding us too that whenever we look at ourselves and we think, oh God, oh, I'm getting older, or just bypass that. Because we are all getting older. Our bodies are changing. Things are shifting. You know, we may have a breakout, as I used to have. It was really hard for me to look at myself when I had a breakout. I was just like, oh. So loving yourself as you are, not as you want to be, but just as you are right now, with all our imperfections, as we are perfect.
Yeah. You're perfectly imperfect, and that in itself is perfect.
Absolutely. What was that book? There was a book about being imperfect, like as being perfect, but there was actually a title to it. And then I want to just finish with this. Every time we make a choice, is it a loving choice for you? Just ask yourself that, because all we can do is one choice at a time. We may not be able to plan out our whole week or even our whole day, but think about that choice. Is this the best thing for my body right now? Is this the best thing? Is this the most loving thing I can do for myself right now? And if we keep asking ourselves that question, we slowly start to make shifts in our life. And again, it comes back to, that we are frequency. So we are going to get more of whatever we're predominantly emitting and feeling. And that's part of when they talk about, your thoughts become your life. You're creating what you're thinking, what you're feeling. So we have to remind ourselves to come back to gratitude and going, okay, I'm going to feel this. I'm going to just move through it. I'm going to go take a run. I'm going to go drum. I have a client right now drumming. He loves to drum, and he has all these drums, he said, in his house. And I'm like, well, take it on down. Take it down, brother, and start hitting that stuff out. Whatever it is to get it out, because we are going to feel frustrated and angry and sad. And so feeling that and then coming back to gratitude and feeling sad sometimes is loving yourself, because some things are sad. We need to feel that through.
Well, and what a beautiful gift to be able to have these human emotions, because
Yes.
animals don't have these human emotions like that.
Mm-mm.
Like nothing else does. Okay, there's the book, The Self-Esteem Guided Journal, a 10-week
It's beautiful.
$21 on Amazon.
$21.
Sure, you can find it other places too, but that's
Yes.
The Self-Esteem Guided Journal, a 10-week program.
I love it. I love it. And it's interesting. I'll bring this up because I talked about, I'll just hold it up because I'm not going to send it. And this is the book called The Magic. So this is a practice that I did. And you can see, I talked about The Secret up here, the Bob Proctor who was kissing himself. Well, this woman was also in that movie many years ago. And this is actually a 28-day gratitude practice. So that's another way to shift. It may be hard to maybe say, I love myself in the mirror, but you can start with having gratitude. And I've done this practice 3 different times over my healing journey in the last 20 years. And especially when I was stuck and I was like, okay, I'm going to get my gratitude journal out. So each day is a different topic. One day it's your health, another day it's money, another day it's relationships. And you journal. Like again, you write out what you're grateful for and why, and you commit to it. You make that vow to yourself. I'm going to do a 28-day gratitude practice. And her suggestion in here is if you miss a day, you start over. So you're kind of committed. It's like energetic. So you're kind of committed to doing the practice. And I have to tell you, I was like, well, okay. Things just started shifting in my life. Money started coming in. Some relationships shifted for me. So I would encourage people to look at both of those books. The one that you mentioned again, and then The Magic by Rhonda Byrne, her name is.
Yeah, wow. I haven't read that one. I haven't done that. So,
Oh, it's such a great book. So,
well, I have a poem I want to share before we end.
okay.
It's beautiful. I don't know where this came from, who wrote it, but it says, "Dear human, you've got it all wrong. You didn't come here to master unconditional love. That is where you came from and where you will return. You came here to learn personal love, universal love, messy love, sweaty love, crazy love, broken love, whole love, infused with divinity, lived through the grace of stumbling, demonstrated through the beauty of messing up often. You didn't come here to be perfect. You already are.
Mm,
You came here to be gorgeously human, flawed and fabulous, and then to rise again into remembering. But unconditional love, stop telling that story. Love and truth doesn't need any adjectives. It doesn't require modifiers. It doesn't require the condition of perfection. It
mm,
only asks that you show up and do your best, that you stay present and feel fully, that you shine and fly and laugh and cry and hurt and heal and fall and get back up and play and work and live and die and be you. It's enough. It's plenty.
made me cry again, Jess.
Courtney Walsh is the author, Dwayne said.
Oh, Courtney Walsh. Oh my gosh, that is gorgeous. I love that. Yeah, because that's, thank you. What a beautiful ending to this beautiful topic today. So thank you for that. Thank you, Dwayne, for your background help and giving us the author's name. Could you say the author again, Jess?
Courtney Walsh,
Courtney Walsh.
called Dear
Beautiful.
Human.
Oh, Dear Human. Okay, that's beautiful. I'm gonna look that up and send it off to a few of my loving humans.
Mhm.
So well, I think that is a beautiful poem to end this show with today.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Please
Thank
reach out to us, info@thewellnesscrusaders.com.
Yep.
If
Yep.
you need support, health coaching, amino acid therapy, nutrition, if you're struggling with your health or mental health, we are here to help support you.
Absolutely.
Info@thewellnesscrusaders.com. Much love.
Much love. Bye, everybody.